Beleng, and you're welcome to my channel, The Return to Africa, or The Returnee. I am going to be talking about what to do before you move back to the motherland, before you move back to the continent. I know that this can be quite a daunting thing to even think about. Forget about the moving, forget about the entire process, but just the thought of coming back home, right? Because when we left, we all left for a better life, we left for a better job, a better quality of life, and this and that, you name it all, we left for that. So the idea of coming home to the place that you left is like, okay, am I not going backwards? Why would I come here to search for a better life and then go back home? And most of the time we are thinking, I don't really have that much, I have not accumulated that much. Well, I'm here to tell you that you do not need that much. Okay, of course I will elaborate what I'm talking about in terms of life expenses and living expenses and all that, but you do not need that much. You don't need to be a millionaire in order to come back home. Matter of fact, you can come here with the little bit that you have and start over. And so what if you're not able to make it here like you thought you would? You can always leave anytime. You can always go back and say, okay, let me go back and then re-strategize. Now I have an idea of what I need when I come home. But I'm here hopefully so that you don't have to do the back and forth, and back and forth. I'm here to give, the little bit of what I have learned in the few months that I have been here, in terms of money and what we need to readjust back home. Okay, so you need to have some kind of money, though. You do need to have some kind of money. I cannot tell you exactly how much you need for your country, because I don't know your needs. I don't know if you have a family. If you have a family, you probably have to consider that. I do have children who still go to school. I'm going to have to pay school fees, and then you might need to save a little bit more than I saved. But what I would advise, what I have seen in my case was, when I got here, or every time that I came home, the thought of coming home and getting into the city and not having a home that I called my own was a bit of something that was a struggle for me. I just did not want to come home and say, well, I don't have a place to stay, or I'm going to stay with my family, especially at my age, and considering the fact that I had left home 16 years ago. So I really wanted to have a place to stay, which is why probably if you go back to all of my videos, you see that I have actually uploaded about 2 or 3 videos where I was talking about how I got scammed in my building. But the good news is I did lose money. I did go through a lot of heartache, but at the end of the day, I can tell you right now that my house is finished and it's just as beautiful as maybe I would have imagined it to be. It was a lot of heartache, but it's done. Okay, it is done, and that's the goal. There was a goal from the beginning of everything, that I want this house and I want it to be done. I need a place to stay. So I can assure you that right now I do feel some level of comfort. I do feel some level of, okay, I have a place to sleep, and I can now go out into the country, or into the world, or into Africa, and spread my wings again. Or I can now establish myself in terms of business, or in terms of a job, and all that. We'll talk about jobs and everything, or business, in other videos. But if you do have a little bit of money, try by all means to start with maybe building. If you have some trustworthy people in your family, you can send money home and build. Although I really would not advise that, because if you look at my videos, my heartache and my headache was people taking money from me and messing up the structure because I was not around. So if you can take a 1 month leave, or 2 months leave, or a sabbatical leave from your job, and come home and build. It doesn't matter how small or how big the structure is. If you build something where you can stay, you would have done incredibly well, because you have to consider that once you're here, if you are renting, how long are you going to be renting? Do you have the money for renting? If there's a possibility you want to start a business and then rent at the same time, you can do that. But we all know that business can be quite unreliable, so you don't want to be spending money on business and also spending money on rent. Again, this depends on your individual circumstance and what kind of person you are, what kind of money you have. Some people, have more than enough money, and renting and starting a business really is not a problem, right? But for some of us also, or for you, if you are like me, that would be something that I would consider. Having a place to stay, or if you have a family that you trust, that would be a good place to stay. But if you don't have a family that you exactly trust, you might want to have your own place, because I know how hard it is for some people. We are not all fortunate in that manner to have like lovely family members or friends who want to accommodate us. They may want in the beginning, but you really want to be independent. Okay, so that's the first thing: building or the place where you're going to be staying, and of course money to say how much do I need, looking at the fact that some of you might have school kids, you might have kids who still go to school. If you want to bring them over home to Africa once and for all, move as the whole family, you want to find schools and see which school you will be able to afford, and how much money they're going to need, and how much you need to save. And then you save that money, put it away, and come home. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, what do you mean by saving? I don't have money, I can barely have enough to survive, and you're telling me about saving. How do I save? Okay, I mean, there are many ways of saving. I think first of all, if you cut your costs. When I was in the UK, I wasn't there for a long time. I was in Czech Republic before. That's where I spent over 16 years, and then UK I was there for literally 8 months or so. I wasn't there for such a long time. But I remember what I did when I went to the UK, because I think after 2 months or 3 months in, I knew that I can't stay here. I need to go home. So what I did was, from the beginning actually, I did not even use a taxi. I did not have a car. I walked everywhere I went. I remember walking to church. I remember some lady saying, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you're a doctor and you're so poor." By the way, doctors are not rich. So that's just like a joke that I'm passing around. But she did say that. But I walked. That's because she saw me walking everywhere. She's like, it's good for exercise. It's good for exercise to keep you healthy, but it's also going to save you money. So if you're planning on coming back, go to the extremes. Okay, even if you have to sell your car, this is a move of your life. This is something that sometimes, I know when you're abroad, you're just like, I am losing my mind. And for me, if I don't get out of this place, okay, sometimes not even that, you just want to come home where you belong, where you feel like yeah, you have your people, you are respected and you are valued, right? Yeah, or you really just to live in a community, because I know how isolating Western societies can be. So be careful that you do save some money, right? We're talking about saving money. Yeah, cutting on the costs, and maybe picking an extra shift. You might want to see, okay, let me pick an extra shift at work, or let me start some online business. Nowadays we are so fortunate that you don't have to be in one place to start a business. You can literally start a business from the comfort of your home. Try social media, try people wanna watch stuff nowadays. Everybody's always online watching stuff. Try that. Start a small online business. If you're a lady, sell something online and see how that does. Or even if you are a man, start something online, start selling something. There is always a way that you can make money, but I do know that sometimes when you're just overwhelmed and stressed out by one job, you cannot imagine having another extra business or another job on the side. So I understand that, but hey, this is just for this moment where you are saying, I am moving home, I need to do 1, 2, 3, and then you go for it. Okay, make extra money, save more money, sell your car, move to a smaller place, sell your clothes on eBay, be left with just a few clothes. I remember actually, not just transport, when I was in the UK, what I did was, for my job, I found that in the UK is quite different from Czech. People wear their what do you call it? They wear their own clothes at work. For me, I decided I'm gonna buy scraps. Okay, I bought 5 pairs of scraps, each for Monday up until Friday, and then some, of course, I would repeat them over the weekends when I'm on call. So I wore, 5 items or 5 pairs of scraps for the whole week, and then I repeated them the next week and the following week and the following week, so that I don't spend on clothes. I was like, okay, people are dressed up at work. If I'm gonna wear my own clothes, they're gonna have to be a certain kind of quality of clothes, which at that moment I decided my priority is not clothes. My priority is going back home, it's saving up for a house, and so I'm gonna sacrifice on clothes and just wear scraps, which I can wear every day, right? That's it. Money. But before money, I think the most important thing that you have to do is make a decision in your mind. Be convinced, be resolute, be decisive, right? Because sometimes you go back and forth between the thoughts. Should I go home? Oh, well, I'm not too sure if I should go. I don't know. The problem about that is the problem about that is if you meet challenges along the way, if you are now home, or if you are now in Africa and it's not your home, and you are from maybe, I don't know, the US, or you are from the Caribbean, I have to correct that. I'm not saying it's not your home, it is your home, but what I'm saying is you have not lived there before. What you have to do is make a decision, because if you meet any small challenge and you are not really decided, you are going back and forth in your mind, what happens is you meet any small inconvenience, you're going to want to leave. Okay, you're going to want to leave at any small inconvenience. You're going to say, you know what, I don't think I can do this, I have to go back home. But that's not what we want to do. When you come here, you want to create your roots. As uncomfortable as it's probably going to be, like any place that you have not been before, or that you have not been in a few years, it's going to be slightly challenging. It is going to be difficult. So you want to make sure that you are decided, that at any small inconvenience you don't go back. If you are decided, again, you are able to grow your roots here in Africa, so that you don't spend your entire life going back and forth. I'm really sorry about the music. I think I'm gonna have to cut that. Let's see. There's a passing car by. Yeah, anyway, so you may go back at any small inconvenience. So be really decided that I am going there and I'm gonna stay, or I am here in Africa and I'm here to stay, and I'm gonna do anything in my power to make sure that my staying here is successful, my staying here is productive, and my staying here, is how I want it to be in the end, right? Obviously, in the beginning, it's not gonna be easy, but in the end, you want to make it what you want. Okay, that's the second thing, being decided. The third thing, you might want to be in contact with some of the people who are also adjusting here in the continent. There is a lot of people. If you search on social media nowadays, we have access to so many people that have done the same thing. So you can get in contact with people, even if you don't see them on social media. Writing a message in some expert group back in your country, or in whatever country that you will be moving to, there are always expert groups. So you may want to start with joining other experts, even if it's your own country, to see how people are living here, how they're getting around, how to get this, how to get that. So if you join those kind of groups, when I moved home, I did join like a hiking group. So I went hiking the first weeks. I think it was the second week after I had moved home. I went hiking with a group of people that I didn't know. It was amazing. I had a great view of my town, which is Lobatse. I went around and I saw this place in a way that I had never seen it before. Okay, in a light that I had never seen before. So you want to make sure that you link with some local groups in order for you to assimilate well and get past the culture shock and everything. Okay, That's one thing. And obviously, if you do have some friends who were here, you may want to reconnect with them. If some of them you're still in a good relationship, you may want to reconnect with them. But I think above anything, really, for me, is for you to just make a decision that I am going home, and then stick to it in terms of the savings, in terms of what you spend on and what you don't spend on. Yeah, I think that's about it from me today. If you do have any questions, like, hit me up, and I am more than happy to answer you. I'm more than happy to link up with some of you. I am in Botswana right now, so if you're another expert who is from Botswana or who's from Southern Africa, I think I can have an idea, or I can know some other people in other countries. I have a lot of good friends in Zimbabwe who also moved from the diaspora to Zim. I have some friends in Namibia. I have some friends in South Africa. So if you're from around here, always you can message me anytime, and if you have some questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, right? Or if you are not from this side of the continent and you want to move to the side of the continent, again, I am more than happy to answer your questions if I can. Okay, so comment below if you're already in Africa and you've been finding it difficult or easy. You can give us some tips below of what to do before you come home. Okay, what to do before you come home. And one important thing that I forgot, I mentioned schools and checking with schools about the school fees. I think I did that. Yes, checking with the schools about the school fees, about how much you need for your kids. But one important thing I forgot to mention is healthcare. Okay, when you're moving here, think about healthcare. Again, depending on the state of your health, the state of your body, but think about healthcare. If you're already a citizen in the West, but sometimes you fall sick here, you fall sick before you're able to fly back to a country where you've probably been paying for national insurance and all of that. So if you're thinking about moving here again, you might want to bring some money or do a research about the healthcare in your country. And if you have to pay for some kind of medical aid, what we call medical aid here is called insurance over there in the West, but you might want to get in touch with some of the medical aids and ask people around what medical aid would be best suited for you or for you and your family. And then you may want to start paying for it a few months before you come here, because what I understand is that some of the insurances of or medical aid, they may not want to cover you if you have just started paying. Like, let's say you start paying now and you fall sick the same month. Sometimes they don't want to pay. They want you to have started paying maybe 6 months ago. Or if you're having like a surgical procedure, they want you to have paid enough to cover that surgical procedure. They don't want to take money from their own account and pay for you if you haven't paid an amount, exceeding the amount that you need to pay for your health care or for your procedure in the hospital. I don't know if you get what I mean, but speak to somebody, ask them about medical aid, ask them about the insurance, and yeah, things like that are also great things to consider. Healthcare, schools. As for you, I think nobody wants to come back home to work. Most of us, when we come back home, we are coming with the mindset that, well, I'm going to start my own business. And because most of the time we did leave home because we wanted better paying jobs. So to come home and obviously not in every country, in Czech Republic where I was working before, they paid less than what they pay in Botswana. So my country pays more. I went there for education. But if you're moving from there, maybe you're not looking for a job. Most of us are looking to maybe start a business. So get into that as well. If you start where you are small, you can literally just come back home and you have experience when it comes to business, and it'll be easier for you to adjust in the business sphere of Africa. Although I must say that I've seen that it's quite easy to start a business here. Not a lot is required. It's quite easy to start a business here in the continent, and if you are bringing the same knowledge and skills that you're bringing from abroad, the work ethic and the timeliness, we are quite a laid-back nation. We are quite a laid-back continent. So if you're coming here with that same speed of work, you'll do well in business here. You'll do well in business. I do understand that some people come here to say, you know what, I'm gonna relax. I'm not going to Africa to work. I'm going there to just chill. So be very careful that when you come here, you don't chill too much before you establish yourself. Okay, that's all from me today. As I have said before, I said this important points. Comment below and ask your questions, and I'm more than happy to talk to you. I'm more than happy to link up with some of you, because I'm also new in this thing of relocation and readjusting back into the continent. Thank you so much. Love you all. Bye.